morning. I'm Carlton Sharp, pastor of Faith Christian Center Church, right here in Beaumont, Texas. And we're here on what's happening in our neighborhood. And today, my special guest is Mayor Becky Ames. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm your mayor.
Yes.
Yes. I've been the mayor since 2007.
Wow.
So this is 12 years at the end of this term. And I've enjoyed what I do very much. I love the work. I don't like the campaign as much, but I love the work. So it's another great day in Beaumont every day for me because I get to be the mayor.
So how has it been these 12 years, the progress that you've seen over the 12 years?
Oh my goodness, I think there's no comparison. People, sometimes we that live here kind of get used to things and you see them day to day, but if you are here and then you go away and you come back, I have friends that moved away and came back and they say, downtown Beaumont, just some of the beautification efforts, some of the, the box painting and the murals and just really artsy stuff and quality of life initiatives are very impressive and they like it a lot. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy, I think.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the challenges that you see that are in our city right now?
The biggest challenge will probably always be the same, and that's streets and drainage.
Everybody says the same thing, yes.
Yes, we're 100 years old. 180 years old, 1838. And when, some of these cities are newer, and so everything's new, but we're 180 years old, and things get old.
Yeah.
And so it's a constant, we have to constantly stay on top of it. And, there were some times before my time that the city really didn't have a whole lot of money. Lost some money, and but we are in really good financial position now. So we're trying to do more and more and more with that. In fact, I don't think that you can drive hardly anywhere in Beaumont without seeing some kind of construction work, whether it be streets, drainage, or whatever.
And so that's all across our city.
Across the city.
So you have a set budget every year for streets and drainage.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, water is self-funding. A lot of people don't realize there's different funds in the city. You don't have everything coming out of one bucket.
Okay.
But you pay your water bill, et cetera, and so that money goes into that fund, and so the water is self-funded. But some of the other ones, yes, we'll budget, and then like streets, there's different pots for streets, pots of money.
Pots of money.
Pots of money. So, like for instance, neighborhood streets are one, and then you've got your arterial streets, which are the major streets, and then you've got your really large streets, like Washington Boulevard, like the one that we've been working on for so long.
Now that one was $33 million.
$33 million. That's right. Just that one street, and that is due to the oil and gas fine that we had over at the municipal airport.
Okay.
I think you and I talked about that a couple of years ago.
We sure
we
did.
worked really hard to get that money released. They wanted us there was a law in place through the FAA that you have to use any money derived from the airport in an airport, but that was really meant for the larger cities who weren't putting their money back into their airports. So we were able to get an exception on that. We had to leave some in, but that's how we did Washington, Northwest Parkway, and 7th Street.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how do you determine which streets are going to be repaired,
Yeah, and neighborhood streets are the hardest because there's so many of them. But we do a survey every few years where it's like a machine on the bottom of a car, and they drive and they see how bad it is. Like sometimes if it's really far gone, you're better off to spend some money on one so doesn't get so far that it costs even more. So we look at it throughout the city, make sure everything's fair. Also, we look at that. There are usually wards 3 and 4 because those are the older parts, have a little bit more, especially on drainage and sewer because those pipes are old. But we've replaced about half, which is about 800 miles of sewer. We've replaced about half with plastic, which is where we want to go completely.
Okay. So why is this election so critical right now for the city of Beaumont?
Well, for a lot of reasons. I think elections are always critical because you have a lot of responsibility. So you have to make sure you elect people that have the same mindset and also understand it. But I think part of it is because we're still recovering from Hurricane Harvey, and we're still working on those efforts. There's still money available that the city helps people with, and I think that experience is really paramount when it comes to something like that. And I've been through Rita as a council member, and then Ike and Harvey as the mayor.
Wow.
And it's crucial that we make sure we do everything right to make sure we get our fair share of that FEMA money, or the Corps of Engineers, that help us, like with Riverfront Park and some of those problems that we had during Harvey.
Now, again, just so that people could be clear about how the city council works.
Okay.
Okay, you as the mayor don't necessarily run the city.
Not day to day.
Yeah, the day-to-day operation
Correct.
is for the city manager.
That's right.
So tell us about how the process works with the council and the city government.
Yes, and not all cities are the same, but for the most part in Texas, not all, but for the most part, we're city manager form of governments in Texas, where the mayor and council are kind of like the board of directors. We will vote on issues such as funding, anything over a certain amount of dollars, just a myriad of different things, projects and things like that, and the majority rules. So one thing that I always think is so important that people understand is if you want to be part of the governing body, understand that you are the part of a governing body. You can't do anything by yourself.
You need 4 votes.
And if you want to say you can do it and get it done, you can say it, but you might not be able to do it. But I'm making a joke out of it, but it's true. I mean, and once the governing body has spoken, even if it doesn't go the way you really wanted it to go, if you can't move on to the next, you're going to just be stuck in a circle. So you have to be able to understand that once the governing body rules, that's how it is, and you can't keep going back to it. So that's one thing. But yes, the city council basically hires the city manager, the city attorney, the city clerk, and the municipal court judges.
Okay.
So they report directly to the council as a whole, as a body.
Right.
And then, but then the city manager, for instance, appoints the fire chief, the police chief. Now the council has to vote to accept it, but on those two because they're union, they're bargaining. So we have to do it a different than the regular. And so with that, you really should go through the city manager for the day-to-day things. Now, we know that every once in a while, if you have something you need a quick question, it's not a big deal, as long as you're not given a directive.
Right.
We are not supposed to direct the department heads.
Got you. Now, now, what about the rash of incidents we see with crime? Especially just a few days ago, we had this
3 in a row.
horrific murder. So
right.
Talk to us about
well,
that.
there's actually been 3,
Yes.
really close together, and that's unfortunate. If you look at Beaumont statistics, and people don't want to hear this from me but I'm not making it up. It's numbers. We're down about 10% because property crime is about 12% down, and violent crime is pretty flat.
Okay.
I believe last year there was 12 or 13 murders, unfortunately, in Beaumont. Yeah. And we're in the 4th month now, and we've had like 5. So it's trending, unfortunately, about the same. Let's hope that it doesn't, but I don't want to put numbers on people. This is their life. So I don't mean it like that, but what I do mean is that it's horrible. And our police chief yesterday held a press conference. I went, and I got to say, though, our police department, they do a great job closing those cases. There was a person on, the first one was on Gulf Street, and then Church Street, and then this one that was in Dallin West. And there was 4 individuals, unfortunately, juveniles. Yeah. 3 of them, I believe, were juveniles, and the young man that pulled the trigger was a juvenile. That makes it so sad.
So what can we do to curb that,
Well, I think the family unit is important.
Yes.
And I know you recognize that based on what you do too. But I think that that in many of these cases when juveniles are involved, the police department tells me that a lot of times they have no home life. So one of the things that we are doing is Regina Rogers started this IEA, Inspire, Encourage, Achieve. We've been involved in that very closely, and now our police department is getting involved in that because that is at-risk youth. And I go to a lot of those events, and a lot of them are young men, and that maybe don't have a home life. And so try to teach them, right and wrong. And because the problem with it is is a lot of these young people show no remorse. They don't even have an issue with killing someone, and that's very sad. So and this is the case across the country too. Though.
It's not just Beaumont. It's not just Beaumont. That's what people need to understand.
They do, and a lot of times these murders aren't random. Now this particular one, this last one, wasn't really random. They were stealing from him, but it's not like people are going around shooting. I mean, a lot of times it's people who know each other.
Yeah.
In most cases,
Yeah.
this one wasn't, but in most cases it is.
Okay.
Is what the police department tells me anyway.
So what are you doing to promote the growth and development of our city?
Well, you know, we talked about the infrastructure. You know, that's a big word
Yeah,
these
yeah,
days.
yeah. Every campaign.
And yes, and I'm going to tell you that it always will be, because and people. I got kind of criticized a little bit for this, but at least I'm telling the truth. You're never going to get caught up.
No.
It's not possible, because once you get to the end, it's starting over
And it's
again.
800 miles of
800 miles of streets, 800 miles of drainage, 800 miles of pipes. I mean, it's a lot. So, yeah, people can say, yeah, our mayor doesn't think we'll ever get caught up, because it's true. But the thing that is good about it is that we try to get ahead of the game, and that's what we're working to do now. The council budgeted, or actually put $10 million just in neighborhood streets this year, and so that's why you're seeing so much work, because we have the money to do it. Just we had a budget for our sewer as well, and we authorized the city manager to put $3 million more in there, because our fund balance was high enough that we could do that, because our sales tax are up. That's our biggest revenue source.
So these pots, so with the extra money, you could put more money in each pot.
That's right. More or less, yes.
Well, now one of the things you said earlier was, you know, you're not necessarily a big fan of the campaign, but how is the campaign going?
I think it's going good. The reason I don't, I just like to do the work. The campaigning sometimes can get, my glass is full. I'm a very positive person, and sometimes campaigns can get a little vicious, and I don't enjoy that. You know, I want everyone to work together and have one unit and you know, be one. And sometimes elections and campaigns pull people apart, and that's unfortunate, because it doesn't have to be that way. So that's why I don't like it. But overall, I think it's going pretty good. I feel like I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You never just take anything for granted.
No,
though.
you gotta get out there and pound the pavement.
That's right. That's right.
Well, in our closing remarks, if you want to tell the people, why should they vote for Mayor Becky Ames again?
Okay, I will. Well, as I mentioned before, I hope that you'll vote for me, because I am experienced. I've done this for quite a while, and right now, with some of the challenges we're facing, it's important. I think that I'm well-rounded. I see some people that run for office that are all about this, all about this, all about this, or all about this. I think that public safety is paramount. I think that whether it be fire, police, EMS, or whether it be from the Emergency Operations Center because of a natural disaster. But in addition to that, beautification is important, because that brings new companies in. And quality of life initiatives like our walking trails and our parks and those. And then last but certainly not least, the infrastructure that we've been talking about. So I think that all of those are equally important, that we need to spend time on all of them. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do. But I think because I've been doing this for so long, I've done pretty well at it. And I'm a jack of all trades. I like to look at everything and make sure that we're doing the very best we can for everyone. And I'm accessible. I think everybody in Beaumont has my cell number. I've had the same one for like 30-something years, can you believe?
Wow.
But yeah, so if you have my cell number, it never changed. It's the first cell number I ever received since the 90s.
Wow.
Yes, so when I first got my cell, this is it. So.
Wow. Well, listen.
But call me anytime.
Then you have 4 opportunities to vote for council. 1 for the mayor, 1 for your ward council person,
That's right.
and at least 2 at large. Up to 2 at large.
Up to 2, right.
And so get out and vote. And so I want to thank the mayor for coming today to share with us, and I want to thank you for joining us on what's happening in our neighborhood. And we will see you next time on our broadcast.
Thank you, Pastor Sharp.
You're welcome.
And please vote for Becky Ames, Mayor. Thanks so much.